In this video, I'm going to show you how you can enable multi-factor authentication for the users in your Azure Active Directory. So in your Azure portal, you can click on Azure Active Directory and you will be straight away directed to the default Active Directory associated with your account. In my case, the default Active Directory is the same email address without @ symbol, as you can see it here. Now, if I have to do the multi-factor authentication, the thing is that you don't have any options. As of now, at the time of recording this video, I cannot see any option where I can go ahead and enable the multi-factor authentication. So for that, we have to move back to our classic portal, Azure portal, or the ASM based portal, right? That what is being used to call that. So let's start by creating a new user. So I have no users associated with this Active Directory. Currently, I'm the only user here. You can see because I own the account, so I am being a part of this Active Directory. But let's add a new user and then enable a multi-factor authentication for that user. So click on add a user. You can also add a new user by clicking on users and group and then create an add new on the top over here. But let's take a shortcut here and click on this link which says add a user. So here just the basic information about the user. So I'm going to name my user as John Wick. Now, as you can see, the username should be the name @ and the domain name. So in my case, the domain name will be prashantmxhotmail@microsoft.onmicrosoft.com. Okay, so let's do that. I want the username like john.wick @prashantmxhotmail.onmicrosoft.com, like so, and you will see a green tick if the user exists. In this case, yes, it is. So you can go ahead and configure a profile. You can skip this step. It's not that necessary, but just for the sake of doing that, I'm just filling it up. Okay, click on OK. Properties will just show you the source of authority. There's nothing to change, so you can just skip that. Groups, I don't have any groups associated with my Active Directory, so I'm going to skip that as well. Now the directory role is what I want for this user is users only. There are actually 3 directory roles. One is a global administrator, which I am already by default, and then there is one limited administrator. But for this user, I just want it to be a normal user, and I would like to keep it as it is. Now for the password thing, you click on the show password, copy that password and open a notepad and save it there. We are going to use this password when we are going to use this user for multi-factor authentication through an ASP.NET application in a while. So click on create and your user will get created in a few seconds. Okay, so that's it in this part. Now all I have to do, this is something what I'm going to do right now is an optional step. You can skip this step, but it's just I just want to do it right away. So I'll just click on users and groups, click on JW, which is the short form of my user called John Wick. Click on profile and you will see this very basic information about that particular user. Now skip everything out here, don't worry about anything over here. Okay, nothing is mandatory. Okay, we have to see this part, authentication contact info. Now I have to provide a phone number so that I can make use of my phone in order to receive the text messages or the call from the automated system from Microsoft in order to complete my authentication. Again, this step is not mandatory, but if you do this right now, it's easy. But if you don't do it, Active Directory will, when the user try to authenticate himself against this Active Directory, then it will prompt the user to configure his phone details or the details that directory require in order to perform the authentication, right? But I'm going to do it right away. So the phone number should be in an international format. That means that you have to provide a country code like so, and then your phone number with a space. Okay, that's all I want to do right as of now. Click on save and your profile will be updated. Now one suggestion I would like to give is that if you are doing this into the production environment, I encourage you to provide the alternate phone number, email and alternate email. All these information should be there because this is the information related to the authentication. So keep that in mind when you do that. So that will be really helpful for the user if he or she lost their phone and if they have to recover something. So this information can come really handy. Okay, so we are done in this portal. Now we can close this, and we can see that there are now 2 users along with the global administrator, which is me. Now to enable the multi-factor authentication, I cannot do it from here because this is the new portal, and one of the few things which are still being in a process of migration from the old portal to this new portal is the multi-factor authentication. Okay, so as you might have seen, I cannot find anywhere as of now till date, I cannot find the multi-factor authentication part in this new portal under the Active Directory group. So let's head back to the old portal, which you can find at manage.windowsazure.com. okay, and you will see the old portal in a state, and most of the services that you see here are already been migrated to the new portal, but still there are few very important services which are still in this old portal, like the one I'm demoing right now. So we will wait for some more time so that all these things will be migrated, and this will be just ease of task, so that we just don't have to switch to and fro from these different portals. Okay, so I can see now this is the only item in my complete Azure portal, which is the default directory, which is the default Active Directory. So I will click on default directory, and on this page I will click on the users. Now I can see the list of all the users here. I can see my name and then the user that I created. Okay, so John Wick, which is by default selected, you can see on the very bottom there's a link called Manage Multi-Factor Auth. Okay, I'm going to click that while I'm also selecting the user for which I want the multi-factor authentication to enable. Okay, so I click on that, and it will get redirected to account.activedirectory.windowsazure.com. okay, so again you will see that there are the list of the users. Maybe you might have multiple users. I only have 2 users. I don't want to worry about this global administrator because this associates with the login account, so you will see the checkbox is also disabled in this case. But to enable John Wick 1, I will click on that, and you will see on the right hand side it will say, do you want to enable this enable link? You just click on enable, and this is just an important note over here at this line which says, if your users do not regularly sign in through the browser, you can send them to this link to register for multi-factor auth. Okay, so in case if you want your users to self associate themselves with this kind of authentication or multi-factor authentication, you can just give them this link, and they will be they will be doing this stuff on by themselves. Okay, but I'm going again, we are not doing this, and we are, as an administrator, as myself the administrator of this Active Directory, I want to do this for my users. So I will just click on enable multi-factor auth like so, and this will update the multi-factor authentication for this user called John Wick. Now there's one more thing which is called service settings. If you click on this, okay, now this section says allow users to create app passwords to sign in to non-browser apps. I will leave this section as it is. I'm not going to change that. Now the verification option. Now this is important. Now you can see there are 2 methods. One is the call to phone, and the second one is text message to phone. So call to phone, as you might have seen, you get a phone call from the Microsoft automated system. You have to receive that call, and then the system will ask you to press the pound or the hash symbol on your phone. You do that, and you will get authenticated, and you will be inside the application. Okay, the other thing is text message to phone. This one will be just similar to the OTP being sent to your phone, and then you will be entering that OTP in your Active Directory page, the authentication page, and then you will be get authenticated, right? By default, when you do this, these all 4 options are checked. I have removed these 2 checked because I'm not going to use that. I'm very much interested in these 2 options only. Okay, and the last one is the remember multi-factor authentication. So if the if you want the users to allow the multi-factor authentication on the devices they trust. In this case, I'm using a desktop, so I trust this device. I am frequently doing this from this particular device, or from my phone, or from my iPad or something. Then this option allows them to do that. And then the days before a device must re-authenticate, you can have the limit from 1 to 60 days, that is around 2 months. So 14, I will keep it as it is. I don't want to check this out, but if your requirement has if you want your users to have this kind of flexibility, you can do that, or maybe you can increase the number of days, right? So I just want to say that these two methods are the important one, and we'll see where these two methods play a very, very important role. Okay, so click on save, and this will save your settings. That's it. Okay, we are done with the enablement of the multi-factor authentication for the user called John Wick in our Active Directory. All right, so how do we test it now? So there are certain things to test. The best and easy way to do is to open up Visual Studio and create a new app like so. I'm going to name this web application. Don't want to change anything again. Click on OK and select MVC and click on change authentication. By default, the authentication is always no authentication. So click on change authentication, select work or school accounts, and you see that cloud have a single organization. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the domain, which is prashantmx@hotmail.onmicrosoft.com. Okay, so this is the domain name. Let's recheck whether there are no spell checks. Yeah, school. Click on OK and enter your credentials, which are the same one that you use for your Azure account. And click on and enter your password. This should get you authenticated in Visual Studio. Okay, so what it's doing now is they're collecting the information from the Azure portal, making sure that you own this domain, right? And once that is being validated, you will be able to create your ASP.NET project with this particular domain pointed for the authentication purposes. Now the scaffolding feature will do the work for you. So you can see now the authentication is work or school accounts like so, and click on OK, and this will now create your application with complete functionality for authentication. You need not to write any single line of code in order to do the Active Directory authentication, right? Okay, so this is done. Now, one of the things I would like to point out here in this application is that by default, if you go to the controller and the home controller, you'll see this authorized attribute on this home controller. Okay, that means even if you go and visit the index page, which is the landing page, about page, or contact page, the application requires you to authenticate, be authenticated before you actually visit these all pages, right? Which I actually don't like. Okay, so if I have to move this out, I can just comment it out, but before I do that, let's see what happens if I do that. So press Ctrl F5 and this should start up a application without the authentication purpose. Now I'm just going to copy that and open it up in a cognitive mode so that we don't have a clash with the credentials which are running in that instance of the browser. So click on that, and you see that I just said localhost some port number, and it redirects me to this single sign-on page from the Microsoft and my application name in there. And that's the reason we have this authorized tag over here, because that's the home controller. That's the one which is being set up in the startup file for the root directory, for the root or the landing page. Okay, so I don't need that, so I'm going to just comment that out. This is what you have to do if in case you want to check this out, and just press Ctrl Shift P to build the project again. Once that is succeeded, come back here and reload the page. Now this should show me the index page like so, right? We're good now. So if I go back to home, contact, it just works. But now if I want to go to some other part of my application, like for example, if I'm going to view some invoices or want to see my work or my different stuff on my web page, then I definitely have to get myself authenticated, right? So here's the sign in button. Click on sign in. Now I have not done anything in the code side. All I have done so far is just comment this authorized attribute in the home controller. I have not even touched the account controller. All that settings, all that information that is being required for this web application in order to authenticate you as a user from the Active Directory you are pointing towards has already been done. Okay, so I need not to write anything, I need not change anything. So let's say John.wick, that's the user we created with the domain name prashantmx@microsoft.com and a password that we copied on the notepad. Click on that and sign in. Right now you see it says your admin has required that you set up this account for additional security verification, and that's a multi-factor authentication. Now if we go back to this, these are the two methods I talk about. Check this out. If I say set it up now, it will again take me to the same activedirectory.windowsazure.com and it will prompt me for these two options. So this is my choice now, whether I want to get the call or want to get the text message, right? Because these are the two methods I have selected out. So for the people, most of the time you are in the middle of something meeting and then you think that getting a call from the automated system and then press the pound key is a serious pain, and this can create a lot of fuss if I'm in the middle of the presentation or something. So I want to select send me a code by text message and I will be happy with that. But yeah, so it depends on the user's priority and also by the by the administrator side also, if he wants you to choose something, or is he the one who is forcing you to do something, right? So for this time I will put call me so that I can I can make you hear what the automated system looks like, and click on next. Okay, now I'm going to receive a call. I'm going to keep it close to my microphone so that you can hear what the automated system has to say. Okay.
Pound key to finish your verification. Your sign-in was successfully verified. Goodbye.
Okay, so that's a call I received from the automated system from Microsoft, and it asked me to press the pound symbol, which of course I don't have, but that refers to the hash symbol. And once I do that, it gives me the authentication successful, and I can also it has also generated one of the passwords, so that for the application passwords, which I'm going to copy and keep it safe somewhere. Okay, so let's say click on done, and now the very basic thing which everybody does for the first time users is to change the password. So I'm going to copy the current password and then I will use my click on that, and you can see that web application needs permission to sign you in and read your profile. So what it does is just reads my specific details like my name, first name, last name, my email address, and so some very minute details about my profile. And you can see the organization is a default directory, application published by default directory because that's a default one. If you create a new Active Directory, it will be it will show the name of those Active Directory. Okay, so it just asks for the permission, and I will say accept, and I am now authenticated with my Active Directory for my ASP.NET application. And you can see it says hello John Wick, sorry, john.wick@prashantmx@hotmail.onmicrosoft.com. Okay, I can just click on sign out. It will take me to there and then redirect me back to my application like so, right? So that's how it works. If I go again and sign in, I can just go ahead and use my changed password. Let's try that as well. Okay, so now you can see it's again going to call me on my phone because I have set multi-factor authentication. So I'm waiting for the call. Once that is there, and I can then, okay, I got a call now. So that's it. So I'm using this through my phone. I just press the hash key and I'm authenticated, right? So that's easy as it is, right? You can also use the message part. You can also use the calling part, whatever you feel comfortable with. And that's how you enable a multi-factor authentication for any of the user in your Azure Active Directory. So that's it. I think if this is helpful, please do let me know. If you have any questions or any feedback, please do write them in the comment sections below. And yeah, so that's it for this demo. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.